From a 12-year-old MMA fighter defeating an opponent twice her age to a dwarf boxing match, find out today about the fights that are impossible to forget. Gabi Garcia is a phenomenon of MMA. With her more than atypical physique, 1.87 m for 111 kilos, the fighter, champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, begins to make a name for herself in the field. And for good reason. Since her professional debut in December 2015, Gabi Garcia, reputed to be a monster on the rings, has never known defeat. However, the main reason of her success lies in the meticulous choice of her opponents. Indeed, she only fights old fighters with a size particularly far from hers, as it was the case, in 2016, during an event of Risen, a Japanese MMA organization. At that time, the young champion fought against the 49-year-old former wrestler Yumiko Hada. Of course, this 40-year-old was not at all able to offer her a worthy opposition, especially since she had not fought since 2012. Thus, the least we can say is that the fight is one-sided. From the beginning of the confrontation, Gabi Garcia has rightly dominated. While Yumiko Hada was moving around the ring and jumping on the ropes, in the manner of wrestlers, but Gabi Garcia quickly stopped her in her tracks before following with devastating punches and knees. Yumiko Hada did not benefit from any special treatment despite her age and size. It is therefore logical that after 41 seconds, the Brazilian was declared winner. It is in any case a match as embarrassing as hilarious. During the UFC Vancouver against Tristan Connolly, the Brazilian Michel Pereira has again delighted the public, but not for the right reasons. Indeed, this MMA fighter had done everything wrong. First, he missed his way in by a few pounds, then he decided to put on a show. So much so that he quickly fell into ridicule. Nicknamed Demolador, this fighter, who has had 25 victories in his career, many of them by KO, had a series of randomly placed punches, flying knee attempts and gestures that looked more like a capoeira choreography than anything else. He even performed a back flip towards Tristan Connolly, which he narrowly avoided by landing. However, despite the spins and his unique fighting style, it was his opponent who ultimately won by unanimous decision. But the worst is not here. Michel Pereira could very well have been consoled with the fight bonus of the evening, except that not at all. Because of the failed weigh-in, his $50 were entirely given to his opponent, plus 20% of his pay. After such a defeat, the Brazilian fighter wanted to justify himself by assuring that he was tired. He also added, "I'm fighting for you, to make a show for you. Let's support more and criticize less. I fight this way to make the UFC more fun." But we forgive him. After all, his fight was truly comical. Here is a fight that will probably remain forever in the annals of MMA, and not without reason. In South America, Ninao, a man of 2.34 m and more than 100 kilos, faced the one who calls himself T2, measuring 1.69 m for only 69 kilos. As you may have guessed, this is a very unequal encounter with an obvious outcome. Indeed, T2 didn't have the slightest chance against the titanic man he was facing during this hilarious fight. The latter tried to hit him, but in vain. Ninao managed, without much surprise, to dominate his opponent with a disconcerting ease. This did not fail to make the public laugh. In the end, it was this disproportionately tall fighter who won by KO against T2 after having lifted him up and thrown him violently on the ground. It must be said that this is not the kind of fight that we see every night. The Japanese Momo Shimizu is not a fighter like the others. Despite her modest size, this 12-year-old girl has a Herculean strength. In fact, she has been training 6 times a week, at least 3 hours a day, since kindergarten. Thus, this MMA practitioner is well and truly capable of rubbing shoulders with older female fighters. And she proves it. At the Deep Jewels 16 event, Momo stepped into the ring to face Momoko Yamazaki, a 24-year-old fighter, twice her age. Nevertheless, according to Momo Shimizu's agent, she has already more than 100 amateur fights in kickboxing or karate and therefore had more experience than her opponent of the day. This was soon confirmed. Indeed, once in the ring, the young girl submitted her opponent by strangulation in the first round. So much so that her rival ended up losing consciousness. The referee could only stop the fight and declare Momo the winner. However, if this meeting is certainly impressive, it has nevertheless created a real controversy on the web. The reason? Well, some people wondered if children should not be forbidden to go on a ring to face an adult, while others wondered if such a fight was legal. Among the many comments, one internet user said, "I can't imagine that an adult would accept a fight against a child, so we have to believe that this fight was not to everyone's taste, and we understand why." The American boxer Curtis Harper has caused many reactions in 2018, and it is not wrong. While he was scheduled to face Nigeria's Fa Ajogba in a 6-round fight in Minneapolis as part of the Premier Boxing Champions, American Curtis Harper simply threw in the towel. Indeed, after having hit his opponent's gloves, this boxer decided to get out of the ring just as the bell rang. He went under the ropes before leaving the room quietly, under the amazed eyes of the spectators, the referee, his opponent and the Fox Sports commentators. No one had actually understood what was happening, but according to several media outlets, this absolutely surreal scene does have an explanation. In fact, Curtis Harper, who was obviously declared the loser, would have felt that he was not paid enough to fight this fight. Therefore, leaving the ring was, for him, an excellent way to make himself heard, but not sure that his method is effective, especially since his coach, Nate Campbell, made his displeasure known in a message posted on his Facebook page. "It was crazy. I was so embarrassed. This man disrespects himself, his wife, his fans and myself," he said. In any case, this unlikely scene is really unusual. It is even unheard of in the world of professional boxing. Discover now a fight like you have never seen before, and for good reason. A man practicing a mysterious martial art, which consists in fighting without contact, decided to face an MMA fighter. Yes, you heard right. This strange fight, which took place in Russia, has intrigued many people. As we can see in this video sequence, it seems that he refused the fight more than anything else, to avoid being hit. However, events took an unexpected turn for this man who claims to be a master of Ki. Yes, his body seems to have played tricks on him since, in the middle of the fight, his ankle inexplicably gave out. On the ground, the man nevertheless got up to continue his fight. However, during the second round, the same scene happened again after he jumped to dodge a low kick attempt from his opponent. But this time, it was the fall of too much for this Ki master who gave up. Obviously, it is his opponent who is the true master of this fighting discipline, as he was declared the winner without even having to touch his rival. Impressive. This amateur boxing championship is truly exceptional, and it is not without reason. The two fighters who faced each other on this occasion are not unknown to the public. Indeed, Casey O'Connor, 23 years old, is a title holder for which his opponent Tony Teo, 39 years old, decided to participate in this extraordinary fight. While the age gap is likely to be large, these two fighters have one thing in common: they both have dwarfism. Despite this, both participants fought with unprecedented violence. From the beginning of the fight, Casey followed up with punches before finally seeing his opponent fall to the ground from the succession of blows. But Tony wasn't about to give up. He managed to dodge the blows of his rival, who nevertheless completely dominated the match. Especially since Tony could barely stand up because of the many blows he received. In the end, Casey O'Connor was, not surprisingly, declared the winner. It must have been a memorable fight because of the violence of the two dwarfed boxers. In 2018, the WWE made history by holding a televised show at the King Abdullah International Stadium in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia for the first time. Except, that's not what viewers remember most about the greatest Royal Rumble. Far from it. Indeed, during this evening, it is the American wrestler Titus O'Neil who was under the spotlight because of his entrance for the least sensational. Yes, this last one stumbled before sliding under the ring and gliding. To save his face, the wrestler immediately got up. Unfortunately for him, it was too late. This memorable fall literally made the commentators explode with laughter as they had fun deciphering Titus O'Neil's fall from all angles. As for the internet users, they commented this scene with joy. We can hardly imagine the embarrassment of this wrestler following this episode. Especially since the video, posted on YouTube, has created a real buzz and now has nearly 3.7 million views. After all, it's not every day that a great wrestler slips under the ring when making his entrance. This referee is obviously willing to do anything to make sure he doesn't miss any of the action. While wrestlers were fighting on the ground, their referee found an improbable technique to make sure that the two fighters did not commit any fault. Indeed, he made a unique slide. For that, he took support on his shoulder to be at the level of the ground. Then, he just had to move horizontally, like a fish. This is a technique as practical as hilarious. But the main reason this referee used it was to see if a wrestler's shoulders were stuck to the mat, because if they were, his opponent would win 2 points. To win a fight, the wrestler must reach 3 points. We must therefore admit that the referee was really invested in his field. However, this did not fail to make a good number of internet users laugh on social networks. In Russia, a very surprising fight took place. In this video sequence, we can indeed see a 240 kilos man entering the cage before being joined a few moments later by a woman, weighing only 63 kilos. This was an amateur MMA fight like you've never seen before. Neither fighter gave his opponent any special treatment, quite the contrary. From the beginning of the fight, both participants exchanged violent blows. At one point, the man managed to dominate his rival, but following the intervention of the referee, the match resumed in favor of the woman. Put on the ground, the fighter received a series of devastating blows that, against all odds, allowed his opponent to win the fight in less than 2 minutes. Of course, it is illegal in Europe to organize similar fights. But in Russia, such a meeting is more common. This certainly does not fail to delight fans of unusual fights. Now it's your turn to tell us in comments which of these fights is, in your opinion, the most impressive. Do you know of other fights as unforgettable? Don't hesitate to share them with us. And as always, if you like this video, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to receive all the notifications, and not miss anything of our next videos. See you tomorrow at the same time on the same channel for a new video.